what changed everything was Manchester City. It was not the money, because the money is why, but it wasn't when they got money, because lots of clubs have got money. It's when they spent the money well and started winning. That's when the Premier League sort of changed, because all of a sudden there were 5 teams, and then Tottenham did flatter with that. They flattered to deceive with that kind of spell where they were qualifying for Europe. And suddenly Arsenal didn't qualify for a long time. Arsenal went a decade without a trophy under Wenger. People forget that. Arsene Wenger went 9 years without a trophy.
They've gone over 20 without a league title.
They've gone over 20 now. 20 now, yeah. 20 years without a league.
20 years out of title.
20 years since they last won the league.
Crazy.
But when you think about it, like, you think of Wenger's, I was about to say dominance, he didn't dominate. But when you think of like Wenger's good times,
It's only 3 league titles.
Yeah, you think he did he win 5 leagues? No, he won 3.
Yeah. What he did though in that time, he won 2 doubles, which is obviously domination. When you win a double, it's huge. He won 2 doubles, and the year that they were invincible, they didn't win the European Cup. But Arsenal should have been the first London club to win a European Cup. We stopped them. We beat them at Highbury, Wayne Bridge.
Inter beat them at Highbury as well, didn't they? 3 up of Henry Martins.
Yeah, but the year that we knocked them out of Europe to stop them winning the European Cup.
We knocked them out of the FA Cup.
And then obviously the other moment for Wenger, which again could have been so different, they got to a European final 2 years later.
Oh,
They got to the European Cup final in Paris.
Barcelona.
Yeah. Eto'o and Belletti.
And they were 1-0 up.
Terrible pass.
Sol Campbell header. What a header that was.
Yeah.
Eto'o won that game, didn't he?
No, Belletti.
Oh, that's a shocking decision.
Eto'o got the winner against Man United in Rome.
It was Giuliano Belletti that got the winner.
Do you remember the one in Rome?
Ashley Young's been booked here. Let me see.
And at Wembley.
Let me see.
No, Pedro at Wembley.
All right, no.
No, but Barcelona won at Wembley.
Yeah, they won it at Wembley.
Gone through the player.
But
I thought he
Pedro
won the
scored.
ball.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I think you can't call it a Wenger dominance, because obviously Arsenal.
No, they didn't dominate.
Obviously, Manchester United were winning more. But you know, if it had gone slightly differently for them, there were eras of like 2 doubles. What was it? 1998 they won the double. 2002 they won the double.
This clip is brought to you by Super 6. Do you want the chance to win £250,000? Super 6 gives you that opportunity every single week. All you have to do is predict 6 correct Premier League predictions. It's absolutely beautiful. And of course, if you win our mini league, that's Club 23 on the Super 6 app, you get the chance to win £100 at classicfootballshirts.co.uk. It's a beautiful deal. Make sure you check it out. The link in the description down below. The style of play, as we mentioned,
then 2004,
as well, the style of play was
and
crazy.
in 2004 they went invincible. So they went double, invincible, European Cup final.
They play football the way
Never
I think football should be played. That physicality, but beautiful on the ball.
Never
that
retained
mixture.
it.
Do you think Pep Guardiola's got a better legacy than Wenger in the Premier League?
Yes.
Pep Guardiola?
Has Pep Guardiola got a better legacy than Wenger in the Premier League?
Yeah, obviously. Wait,
Yeah.
What?
I think Arsene Wenger means...
There's a debate there.
I think
isn't there,
Arsene
surely?
Wenger...
No.
I think
You don't think there's a debate?
Without Arsene Wenger, the Premier League... Obviously,
Guardiola's
he's not the only man there, but without Arsene Wenger, the Premier League doesn't become what it is, and therefore it doesn't have the audiences and stuff which take to Pep Guardiola and his football and all that.
Yeah.
But Pep Guardiola
What he's
achieved
achieved.
way more.
Yeah.
Like,
100 point
way more.
season.
But I don't think he changed the league as much as Wenger did.
I think he did.
I think he has.
I think he's changed English football.
changed-
What I'm
he's
saying is,
changed
I don't
English
think he's made as big of a change.
I think those
To the
changes...
point,
I mean,
the thing is,
yeah,
we
because
credit
we had already
Wenger,
seen
but
Wenger.
we credit Wenger
You get
with
it?
that. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of those changes were happening anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like Ruud Gullit was playing here, and he was like bringing in changes at Chelsea. Like footballers,
Fergie was getting rid of all the drinkers.
footballers
and
was
all
being
that
told
shit,
to stop drinking, regardless of whether Wenger was here or not. Footballers were being told to stop smoking, whether Arsene Wenger was here or not. Of course, Wenger, huge contribution to English football. I'm not saying that he hasn't at all. But if we're comparing it to Guardiola, I think Guardiola's
What is it then? Fergie 1, Mourinho 2?
best managers in the Premier League.
Yeah, legacy
No,
and
Guardiola's
best.
second.
I'll
Guardiola's
take that.
second, of
I
course.
think I have to take that, yeah.
Guardiola's second. Fergie, untouchable.
Mourinho
Mourinho, third.
3rd. Wenger 4th.
Oh man,
And then it
I
becomes
think
Klopp.
crazy.
When's Klopp
I
coming?
think Wenger, Mourinho are
One
kind of,
league.
you know, when you put equal third, and then the next guy's 5.
No, it's Mourinho.
don't-
Mourinho did it.
Do you know what it is? Yeah.
Mourinho's.
They've got the same amount of Premier League titles.
Yeah,
right?
but how many years?
yeah, but
That is true.
still, man. Like, look what Arsene Wenger wasn't managing a team like.
It's not just
Chelsea.
trophies. It has to be how
Chelsea were a
iconic they
team
are.
towards the end of Wenger's career that were just geared towards winning
Wenger
trophies.
is the Premier League. Wenger is the Premier League. Mourinho's more an amazing spell with Chelsea in the Premier League. Wenger is the Premier League.
He's not
Don't
the Premier
understand
League.
that.
No, but
Fergie's the Premier League.
Fergie and Wenger is the closest to the kind of the battle between Arsenal and Man United in the 90s. What you said earlier about the kind of branding of the Premier League, that is Wenger.
Yeah.
And Fergie.
I don't agree. I think
And then Mourinho and Guardiola more trophies.
Mourinho, if you do a Mourinho versus Wenger,
titles.
Mourinho versus Wenger, if you do a head-to-head, Mourinho smashes it.
But you've got to
but
take into
the
context
legacy,
what
the
clubs
history.
they had.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Like that
Interesting,
that, it's not like Mourinho had Chelsea in 95. You know what I mean?
No.
He had Chelsea in 05 when Roman Abramovich came in and pumped that money in. You had Arsene Wenger who, all right, he spent some money. But that Arsenal team, once they left Highbury, went for a massive transition to where they were no longer looking to buy the best players and that. They were selling their best players.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So Wenger's last, was it 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah.
He wasn't really expected to win the league.
Kept getting the
He
Champions
didn't
League,
have a
top four,
team that
top
could
four.
win the league. Wenger wouldn't have won the league with that team. Mourinho wouldn't have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
No, I know.
The context
but I
of
don't,
what they were managing under was very different. Is the point I'm trying to make.
yeah, I suppose I agree with that.
Would Mourinho, for example, have got Arsenal top four as many times as it did in that kind of
With Bentner
we're
and all
building
that.
a stadium
Buvey right
era?
back.
I don't know. I just think that if you're doing like the Premier League greats of managers, I think that
the results have to come into
yeah,
it.
like Mourinho is undoubtedly in there.
What about Mourinho going to Man United and then Spurs? Does that dampen the kind of lineage?
No.
No. I mean,
he did what he did.
Kind of
You can't
upsets
take it
me
away.
personally. It kind of upset me.
Yeah, the
Like my
narrative.
relationship with him.
Well,
I don't-
Fergie's one club, Wenger's one club.
The OGs are voting, and 54% agree with Rory.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm very split.
the
I
other
think
thing-
they're
Yeah, I think
joint
it's
third
close.
is
yeah, I
what
don't.
would put it
I
at.
think if you can't split them, if you think their contribution is the same and you can't split them and you have to split them,
I think their
just look
contribution
at
is
their,
different. Though.
Just look at their head. Like on Arsene Wenger's 1000th game, his 1000th game in charge of football. He came to Stamford Bridge. Everything was about Arsene Wenger. I think he was on the cover of the programme. It's Wenger's day. 6-0 Mourinho done him. 6-0.
It's embarrassing.
6.
It's embarrassing.
6-0 on his special
I'd
day.
rather Wenger be managing my club. Is what I would say.
You wouldn't.
What?
you wouldn't- 'cause you went- they
Prime
went 10
Wenger
years without
at
a
Man
trophy.
United over Prime Mourinho.
But Prime Wenger doesn't go 10
It's
years
Prime
without
Mourinho,
a trophy
actually.
at
It's
Man
Prime
United
Mourinho.
because the resources
Yeah, but-
would have been different.
Yeah, but
we had the stadium. We had
Go
all
for
that kind
the
of
big.
stuff.
Go for the positive.
He became
aspect.
a manager. that
Prime
was
Man
getting
United, the
a
golden
fifth-
generation with Mourinho. You'd win a treble.
But,
Wenger wouldn't win a treble with you
but
lot.
what I'm saying is Wenger was a manager that had to deal with the constraints that he had towards then.
Yeah.
So he was no longer expected to
Yeah, but
win the
even when he
league.
didn't have the constraints,
Yeah, but that's the back end of his
Mourinho
time.
was
That's
at
not.
Roman
He didn't win-
Abramovich's
That's not the most
Chelsea.
relevant part of his
Wait,
argument,
he didn't
is
win
it?
the European. He didn't win the European Cup when he had the best team in the world.
Okay, that's a good point.
He had the best team
But
in the
We have
world.
to use that because we're not
Mourinho never
talking
won the
about
European
Mourinho
Cup
at
at Chelsea.
Spurs. We're not talking about Mourinho at Spurs.
Mourinho
We're talking
never
about
won the
Mourinho at
Mourinho's a
Chelsea.
serial European Cup winner.
But he never won the European Cup of
No,
Chelsea.
but he's a serial European Cup winner.
You want it Inter Milan?
We're ranking him their Premier League careers here as well. Like he never won the European Cup
He
of Chelsea.
retained the Premier
He
League.
retained the league. Yeah, that's a big one.
He retained the Premier League,
That's
and
the
he
big
came
one.
back
And
a
the defensive
decade.
record.
Hang on, with Mourinho as well. He won the Premier League, retained it. Every time he won the Premier League, by the way, those first 2 years, we won another trophy as well. So it wasn't just the Premier League. So it was a Premier League and a League Cup. He came back a decade later, won the Premier League and the League Cup again, beating Tottenham in the final.
Yeah.
So he won it in 05 and then he won it in 15. 10
Yeah.
years later, he came back to Chelsea, won it again. In terms of your contribution to the league, also, if you're doing just who's a better manager, Wenger or Mourinho?
Mourinho's better manager.
Mourinho.
I think Wenger.
Just Mourinho. Like, I don't even like my loyalty to Mourinho has definitely dissipated. He was at Tottenham. I don't love the man like I used to. But he's just Mourinho would never go a decade without.
Does
a trophy.
Wenger do what he did at Inter Milan? No
But
way.
Mourinho
No way.
would never stick
Would he do what
around
he
at
did
an
at
Arsenal
Porto?
team.
It's not
that-
about if he
Not about
sticks around.
stick around. Sticking
but
around, great.
He'd never stick around at an Arsenal team that have to sell everything.
No, but so Wenger Mourinho could have stayed at Porto for ages, couldn't he? Could have stayed there 10 years, whatever.
I'd rather Wenger.
Mourinho at Porto, European Cup, mental, absolutely mental.
Yeah, incredible achievement.
Inter Milan, one of the most incredible achievements in football, let alone anything else. Arsene Wenger went a decade without.
We were
a
just
trophy.
ranking him on Premier League, but also the club that he had weren't supposed to. I know they got to the semi-finals. We knocked them out in 08, 09, 09. But I don't know what Wenger was having to put up
when
with
you're
at
saying
that
the
point
club
in
that he
time
was
was they were selling all their best players.
No, but you're talking
was
about
out
that
of his
particular time
control.
because it suits your
Yeah,
argument. What
because
about
it was the end of his career.
But
They
what
still
about
had
when
Van Persie up front. They still had a top four side.
well, they got to the semi-finals of the European Cup.
Yeah, they were getting to semi-finals. The fact they didn't go, they went 10 years not
But if
winning,
he
not
didn't
win
turn
one
Van
League
Persie
Cup.
from the young player he was into the player he became.
But they were getting to League Cup finals. They lost to Birmingham City and stuff like that. They had no
that's
bottle
true,
for
that's
10
true,
years.
That's true.
Also, let's
Bear in mind, I did say I think they were level third.
yeah, but if you have to separate,
You have to
we're
separate.
making our cases to separate.
Okay, the way I would try and separate is them. Who would I rather manage my club? Arsene Wenger.
I'd rather have Arsene Wenger manage Man City as the kind of guy he is. As a ruthless, results-based thing, Mourinho's a better manager.
Yeah.
My point is, Wenger's results could have been better at a club that had the resources.
But you know,
of
you
Chelsea,
keep talking,
or had
you
the
keep
resources
talking
of
about the
Man United.
resources and that.
He
They
had a
had the
club.
best team in the world.
Because
Arsene
of
Wenger,
Wenger.
yeah, fine, but they didn't win the European Cup.
They didn't buy the best team in the world.
Oh, they bought what? Thierry Henry came through.
But he came from Juventus and he wasn't a striker. He played on the wing. He
Mourinho-
wasn't the
Mourinho
Thierry
didn't
Henry
sign
that
all
he
11
was.
players. He made John Terry a fantastic player who's already there, and Lampard, etc. So everyone's
this
got
is the debate.
signings. Everyone's got players
Yeah.
that have come from the academy.
Yeah, Didier Drogba arrived. He was raw. And then he went on to become one of the most efficient.
But he
Mourinho's
was
a
also-
fantastic coach.
But Didier Drogba, Arjen Robben, Michael Essien, Claude Mack, all these players, Manchester United were after most of these players. Like these players that were already highly touted, highly looked after. From when Michael Essien was coming from Lyon, everyone in Europe wanted him. Like obviously you could argue, and someone would probably say, "Oh, Vieira was wanted by so and so." But Henry leaving Juventus, it wasn't because he was doing really well.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you could argue with some other, like Vieira came over.
Wenger did better
Everyone-
at kind of turning a rougher situation into a decent situation. We don't know about Mourinho. When things got bad for Mourinho, he tends to leave clubs. You know, that's the situation. But at the top end of the game, Mourinho's side, you know,
that was an amazing era.
They would have
wasn't
been
it? You know when
invincibles.
they were having the pair of them. Do you remember when Mourinho called Wenger a specialist in failure
And
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
and a voyeur?
Yeah.
Says he only
Talks
looks at
about me
other
all the
people.
time.
Yeah.
Talks about me all the time. This guy. Why does he talk about me all the time? Is he a voyeur?